A Neuralink is this device drilled into your skull and connects with your brain. Scientists have recently fully automated the surgery and have started the next phase, making it into an actual product, which begs the question, how close are we from doing this
It's just me thinking about wherever I want it to go.
to this? Today, we're going to compare the 11 sectors of daily life, from education to entertainment, to figure out just how close reality is to cyberpunk, starting with a career in our reality is traditionally a path towards financial stability, personal growth, and eventually a comfortable retirement. It's a forgiving system because you can develop a specialized resume but still have the ability to transfer some of those skills across different industries, like pivoting from basic web development to cybersecurity. Even today, as we face the increasing amount of AI automating our jobs and a pretty rough post-graduation market, there are still new companies and opportunities that are constantly emerging, allowing for people to have a stable source of jobs. But in Night City, the very definition of a career has been thrown away. For the average person, living job to job is normal, with gangs asking for protection fees or straight up robbing you. People are forced into this gig economy, taking whatever they can get, bouncing at a club by night and working at a kitchen by day. Many also turn to working with mercenary crews like David Martinez in Cyberpunk Edgerunners or V in Cyberpunk 2077. Even if you manage to bypass the massive barrier to entry to landing a corporate career, the reality is just in a different shade. Instead of gangs, you now have other coworkers trying to climb the corporate ladder, even if it means screwing you over. Workers are subjected to surveillance that constantly monitors their performance 24/7. The hours are brutal, incentives are given, but can be snatched away on a whim. And if you fail to keep up with demands, you're instantly fired. Healthcare in our world is designed around a single concept: healing the sick and injured. While how they work around the world may vary wildly, like the universal healthcare of the EU to the notoriously high medical bills of the US, there is still that single underlying expectation. When you call an ambulance, you can rest assured knowing that professionals will arrive and do everything in their power to save your life. In Cyberpunk, that promise has been replaced by a dystopian alternative: Trauma Team. At a glance, it paints a thrilling picture of the future. SWAT-style medics descending from flying AVs to extract patients from an active war zone. But this isn't a public service. Trauma Team runs on an expensive subscription model. They offer varying tiers of coverage, and unless you have the VIP package, which only the wealthy can afford, you'll be provided with the bare minimum. Lower tier subscribers might get their bleeding temporarily stopped, but every additional minute or bullet fired on their behalf incurs expensive fees. If your account drains to zero, they literally abandon you to die. Because Trauma Team packages are so expensive, the majority of Night City's population is uninsured. Standard public hospitals do exist, but they're usually underfunded and are just as corrupt. Saving a dying citizen just isn't profitable enough in their eyes. We see this tragic result clearly in Edgerunners, where Dave's mother, Gloria, is scanned by an arriving trauma team, gets declined, and is left bleeding on the asphalt. She's eventually taken to an underfunded hospital where she unfortunately dies, likely because the doctors saw no use in trying to patch her up. For the average citizen, this means relying on shady Ripper docs, a back alley surgeons specializing in cybernetic modifications. Housing is a right to own land. When you purchase a property, it becomes your private domain where, as long as you don't break any laws, you have complete control over your own space. You can build your own personal life, free from a landlord, however you want. In Night City, the concept of home ownership is basically gone, replaced by a corporate-controlled rental market. For the vast majority of citizens, the standard living situation means renting an apartment inside a towering mega building. These colossal structures are designed to pack in as many bodies as possible, offering little more than shelter. They're completely devoid of any amenities that you would expect and are often included with failing infrastructure and open crime. But it's that idea of not even having the ability to own land which is truly horrifying. Whether you live in a mega building or a high-end corporate apartment, you own basically nothing. Run out of funds or miss a payment by even a day, the eviction process is entirely automated and instantaneous. But we are kind of seeing this in real life, specifically in China where you can't actually own land. The only thing you're able to do is own a residential lease or a commercial lease, usually ranging between 40 to 70 years. The food that we eat comes in a wide variety and personal choice. From home-cooked meals to diners and fast food restaurants, the ability to cook and flavor our food exactly how we want it in itself is a form of freedom. This freedom is because of the simple fact that fresh, raw ingredients are readily available at our local markets. But yeah, in Night City, as you might have guessed, this has also been stripped due to the ecological collapse of the world that nearly wiped out all natural livestock and agriculture. Real food is functionally dead. In Cyberpunk, they instead eat heavily processed synthetic substitutes. Every street vended burger or burrito is constructed from SCOP, which stands for single-cell organic protein. It was engineered to mimic the texture and taste of real meat, but without any of the flavor. Genuine beef, fresh fruit, and natural fish are considered luxuries, reserved only for the corporate executives who own and control the few remaining farms and gardens of Night City. The mega buildings that we were just talking about earlier don't even come with their own kitchens. Most apartments only have vending machines dispensing pre-packaged, mass-produced meals made by monopolies like All Foods. Because these mega corporations own the entire supply chain, they basically get to dictate your diet. If All Food decides to discontinue a specific meal, you simply never get to eat it again. While this synthetic diet is a logical conclusion to Night City's dying ecosystem, and in some ways it does mirror our reality, reflecting the rise of ultra-processed food and the expanding normalization of microwave meals. Entertainment is pretty vast in terms of variety in real life. Whether you're watching a video essay on YouTube like right now, or going to a live concert, or just simply going to the local park to play a basketball game, you retain the freedom to choose how you engage with your boredom. While most people have turned to social media, it's nothing that you're unable to get away from. But in Night City, entertainment is weaponized to be a hyper-addictive escape from reality, designed by corporations to dull the pain of daily life. The most notorious version of this entertainment being brain dances, or BDs. BDs allow users to directly download and experience another person's thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations. While mainstream studios churn out sanitized versions of BDs, the underground market thrives on XBDs, raw, unfiltered recordings of violence, torture, and even death. The sensory overload is usually so extreme that editors like Judy Alvarez are required to scrub and modify the neural feed just to make the experience not fry your brain. But even if you want to take a break from these experiences, escaping this digital era is basically impossible. The city itself is littered with hypersexualized, aggressive ads posted wherever you look. While traditional sports like boxing and basketball still technically exist, most citizens simply lack the time or energy for any type of physical hobby. Instead, they jack into BDs to numb their brain, which is basically the equivalent of doom scrolling through social media at 2 a.m. Education in our reality is what people see as the one pathway to escaping poverty, one that allows you to secure a stable career and develop intelligence to become a smarter person in general. Even if modern universities today serve as a proof of your hard work for corporations, students still undergo a process of genuine intellectual growth and learning. In Night City, instead of books, traditional learning has been replaced by skill shards, which are these data chips directly inserted to your brain that instantly injects protocols, languages, and training. We see this when V slots in a military shard and instantly becomes familiar with how to handle a firearm. But while the idea of bypassing the learning stage might be tempting, skill shards only teach the how of something, and it completely removes the why. This why is a fundamental concept that improves critical thinking, because when you don't know why something exists, you never question if it was a good or bad thing. With critical thinking being removed, it creates a system that intentionally raises a population that is highly skilled, yet intellectually dumb, the perfect, monotonous labor force built for a factory. Religion in our reality gives a sense of spiritual comfort. Whether you're born into a specific faith or you find one later in life, most religion often provide a moral compass and the promise of a peaceful afterlife. It serves as a reassurance against death, offering us solace that a higher power is watching over us and will receive us when we pass. In Night City, however, old religion has died and has been replaced with digital versions. Following the crash of the old net, which is what our current internet is, vast amounts of human history and knowledge was permanently deleted, including most religions. In the void left behind, factions like the Voodoo Boys have constructed spirituality around the very technology that destroyed their world. To them, cyberspace is the literal spirit world, and the true afterlife is what lies behind the black wall. Behind this black wall exists rogue AIs, which are entities that evolve so far beyond what we can comprehend that they are no longer viewed as rogue software, but worshipped and bargained with as literal digital gods. Instead of praying for salvation, the Voodoo Boys are actively preparing for a digital apocalypse. Their ultimate religious goal is to breach the net's high security and merge themselves with these omnipotent AIs, believing that uploading their consciousness is the sole path to achieving immortality. Nature is a special part of daily life, offering a peaceful place where we can breathe fresh air and reconnect with the earth. In Night City, you won't find much nature on a day-to-day basis. The city itself is isolated by this thing called the Badlands, a sprawling, toxic desert plagued by acid rain, chemicals, and massive tons of landfills. The birds of the region have been completely eradicated, and it's safe to say that no wildlife survives outside of Night City. For the average citizen, seeing flora is basically impossible. The only realistic places you'd find them would be in corporate plazas or private penthouses of megatowers. It's a bleak outlook of the future, a timeline where the planet has been so thoroughly poisoned that the very concept of nature is reserved only for the elite. In our reality, a healthy economy is a hard thing to balance. Small businesses work on the belief that hard work and genuine innovation will carve out better margins of the market, which means that everybody is forced to respond, including even large companies. It relies on a functioning ecosystem of small and large businesses, consumer rights, labor laws, and a government capable of regulating the market to prevent monopolies. In Night City, the economy has devolved into a hyper-capitalist dystopia. Mega corporations like Arasaka, Militech, and All Foods operate entirely above the law. If officials attempt to restrict corporate interests, the corporations can simply retaliate and force the government into total submission. True small businesses cannot survive in this environment. Independent vendors are systematically crushed, consumed by conglomerates, or bled dry by local street gangs, demanding heavy extortion fees. The free market is dead, leaving behind nothing but the illusion of choice. Whether you're purchasing a firearm or another meal, the product comes from the exact same monopolies. In our reality, politics is built on the foundation of democratic representation. Citizens vote for officials to maintain public services, pass legislative laws, and hold leadership accountable for the overall betterment of society. As mentioned before, the government of Night City has little power in Cyberpunk. The local governments basically operate as PR departments for mega corporations. The mayor and the city council hold zero actual power. Every policy, election, or law is strictly dictated by corporate interests, and any public official who attempts to resist this is bribed, blackmailed, or quietly assassinated. But the horror of Night City's politics goes much deeper than just bribery. The political members are actually being manipulated by shadowy figures like Mr. Blue Eyes, a person who possesses the terrifying ability to literally rewrite a person's memories and personality. And we see this with candidates like Jefferson Perales, which create the perfect puppets. While literal mind control sounds distinctly dystopian, it's not that far off from our own reality. Modern voters today are already subjected to massive data harvesting, psychological targeting, and algorithm manipulation that subtly rewrites how we think and how we vote through ads and what we see through social media. So how close is reality to becoming cyberpunk? In some aspects, we're still pretty far off. We're not really surviving on synthetic scop, we're not using brain dances, and we haven't really developed any digital religion as of 2026. However, there are still a lot of foundations of a cyberpunk dystopia already being laid out in real life. The concept of a career offering lifelong financial stability is rapidly deteriorating. The dream of home ownership is basically impossible for the new generations of graduates today, and megacorporations are consolidating into massive monopolies. In these different systematic ways, we're actually closing the edge between real life and cyberpunk. Ultimately, I think that we are living in the early stages of a cyberpunk reality. We don't have full-body cybernetics, our AI is still very much in its early stages, but the groundwork is there for a cyberpunk reality to happen.